So
are your top 3 bangers on side A?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Me too.
I mean, they have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're stupid. But yeah, no.
Welcome back to Asinine Radio, a weekly podcast where we talk about music, and, well, that's pretty much it. So, let's go!
Your microphone was off, huh?
It was.
There you go. There he is.
What? No, I've been here.
You've just been yelling "Hey" into the abyss. Yes.
Yeah. Well, no, it was there.
No,
it was there.
no.
No, it was there. Yeah.
All right, this is Asinine Radio. This is the weekly music podcast where every week we get into a different album from a different artist. We do all the research that nobody else wants to do, and we find out all the secrets about these records and these bands that you're going to hear for the first time on this pod. So go to iTunes, go rate, review, and subscribe to us on there. Follow us on social media at Asinine Radio. My name is Tyler, and way out there, hundreds of miles away, is Jeff.
Shit, boy.
And, what are we doing today, Jeff? What album are we doing today?
We're doing Boston's Boston.
Now, Jeff, what is your I don't know how right these facts are. The 75 million worldwide and 25 million worldwide. I don't know.
I would take those at face value because of, Boston's Boston being so popular, and then them being around for so long afterwards. I'd be okay with it.
Fair enough. So then what's your origin story with Boston? What do you got?
So I've always thought of Boston on the same level as Journey. Boston and Journey to me have always been the same. Don't Stop Believing. I just don't like that song. I hate it.
Yeah,
I think it's overplayed. It's arguably like the most overplayed song that's ever been in existence. And then
Correct.
More Than a Feeling, it's kind of like More Than a Feeling is kind of like its underappreciated little sister of Don't Stop Believing in that anthemic, overplayed song title. But unlike Don't Stop Believing, More Than a Feeling is really good. And
yeah, it is.
I never gave it like its due until what really changed my mind was when Girl Talk, the DJ, the artist Girl Talk, used the beginning of Foreplay, that bass part in one of his songs, and I thought that bass riff, I was like, holy fuck, that's so good. What is that? And I saw that it came off Boston's Boston, and the same album that had More Than a Feeling. But then even then I was still weary about More Than a Feeling until like we started doing the vinyl collection stuff, and I got Boston's Boston strictly because of Foreplay. Long time I wanted to listen to that, and then More Than a Feeling came on, and I was like, okay, maybe I can just like skip this, but you can't skip it on the vinyls, so I was forced to listen to it, and I was just like, holy shit, dude, I'm fucking completely wrong. Boston's Boston is so fucking good. More Than a Feeling is like, it's not even the same level as Don't Stop Believing. Don't Stop Believing is just not a good song.
Agreed.
More Than a Feeling is a very cheesy song done in a masterful way.
Yep.
So, like my origin story is More Than a Feeling for sure. It's the first time I heard Boston. Anytime you go out to fucking any bar, any social situation, any mall, at some point you'll hear More Than a Feeling. But what really did it for me was the bass part of Foreplay in Girl Talk, and that made me go back and listen to Boston's Boston, and give me a new insight.
So my origin story is, much like you, More Than a Feeling is the gateway into this band. Everyone knows this song. I mean, growing up, my mom was very into classic rock, And so more than a feeling was on the radio. So she was always listening to it. I think she might have had a greatest hits at some point, but I don't remember any other song outside of More Than a Feeling. And then, it was on Guitar Hero, and it's fucking everywhere. Everywhere you go, that song is playing. But you never really know who it is. Like it's one of those songs you just don't know who it is. And then you find out it's from a band called Boston. And you're like, wow, that's kind of a boring name for a band. And yeah, so that's kind of my thing. I've just always heard it. And then much like you, that bass line in the Girl Talk that Girl Talk sampled, I mean, I know that, but it never was enough for me to want to go and listen to more Boston until you're like, okay, I'm just going to give you the first 2 Boston records. Just listen to them. If you don't like them, get rid of them. And I ended up playing the second record first. I just wasn't really paying attention, so I just threw the second one on, and I was like, wow, this is actually really good. I was really digging it. I texted you, and I said, yeah, this is really good. And you're like, oh, you put the second one on first. I'm like, and you called me an idiot or something. And then I put on the first one, and it just fucking mind blown. I've just been so... I listen to this record all the time. On vinyl, this week I listened to this record I think 6 times.
Ooh.
Like it's this record is unbelievable, and this album deserves every bit of credit that it's ever received. It's fucking fantastic, so fantastic. So yeah, that's my origin story with it. And yeah, so what do you got? What's your first impressions on Boston's Boston and your biggest banger on here? What do you got?
My first impressions were I've never listened to this album through and through until we did the vinyl like collecting, and that was the first time I really heard this through and through.
Yeah. And
there were like 3, because only 8 songs, and I think like 3 or 4 out of the 8 songs I never heard before. So I was like really surprised, and I think that side A of Boston's Boston, so just like the first 3 tracks, I think that's like arguably like up there in the greatest side A's like of all time. It is.
I might agree with you on that.
It is so fucking good. It never lets up, and then it does kind of let up at some points, but it's intentional, and it only lets up to lead somewhere else. And it's
it's still good, but it's not as good as everything on side A. It's fantastic.
It's weird. It's bizarre. I never thought Boston. Like, dude, it's such a fucking cheesy name. Like, if somebody were to name them, if somebody now were to name their band after one of the most populous cities in the United States, it's a cheesy ploy to help you get clicks faster, right? Like to help you come up in the Google searches or whatever it is. But like these guys, I mean, I have a lot of, I don't want to say I have a lot of negative things to say, but I have a lot of things to say about this group that make me want to keep them a little bit at an arm's distance because they're very bizarre.
It's super weird.
Very
weird
bizarre.
History.
But dude, like I think this is a banger of an album. But my favorite song is Foreplay, specifically Foreplay. But the whole track Foreplay, Long Time.
Yeah.
I think Foreplay. I think that bass line. I think that may be like one of the greatest bass lines ever written.
It's really fucking good.
I do. I think it may be one of the greatest bass lines ever written.
It's that walking bass line. It's so effective, and then everybody is just coming in, just like the drummer's just hitting the crashes, and then the organ player is just like going off. It's a wild opener, absolute wild opener. But fuck, it's good. It's not my biggest banger on here, but it's close. Like it really could be my number one, but it's good. It's really good. I don't know. What do you want to do? Should we get into?
What's your origins? I mean, I guess you kind of give your origin story. You asked me twice what my origin story was, but what's your biggest banger?
No, but I said, what's your first impression on this one?
Okay, you're right. You did say first impressions.
So yeah. So
are your top 3 bangers on side A?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Me too.
I mean, they have to be. I mean, unless you're stupid. But yeah, no. My what am I saying here? My first impressions on this one. I mean, you can't come up with a better opening than More Than a Feeling. And it's that, the A side is just, it's untouchable. And like I was saying earlier, like even B side, all the songs are good. They're really good, but they're so overshadowed by A side. So you kind of forget about them until you're listening and you're like, okay, now I understand why these songs are so good. Or now I hear that these songs are so good. But my favorite song is Peace of Mind. And it was tough. It was tough not putting that number 2, but I had to do it because it has all of the catchiness of More Than a Feeling, but just like expanded on, and it doesn't sound as cheesy, but it might be because I've heard it less. I think that hook, that super catchy melody and the vocal melody it's unreal. It's so fucking good. And it's almost like he does this like subtle way of saying, I don't know, of singing that hook. I can't even explain it because I know nothing about singing, but I don't know, man. That Peace of Mind is just, it's my favorite.
That's my 2B.
Absolutely my favorite.
That's my 2B.
Okay. All right. So we're kind of the same.
Yeah.
So I mean, should we just talk about More Than a Feeling, because one, we already played it, and we can both agree this is our number 3, right?
Yeah, that's
then we'll go back to our
3B.
Okay.
It's just, dude, like the first thing you ever hear from this group, Boston, they're coming out, and this group, and when I say the word group, they're not a group. It's just a guy, and then he wrote a bunch of songs and tried to get hired and try to get signed, and he couldn't. So we met another guy, Delp, right? He met
Brad Delp.
Tom Scholz. Is Boston, essentially. He met Brad Delp, hired him for like lead vocals and stuff. Couldn't get hired, couldn't get a record deal, never played a show, never did anything. Just stayed in his like literally his basement, his mother's basement for fucking almost a decade, writing music, and eventually got a record deal and hired a bunch of musicians to play on this record and subsequent records. So Boston is essentially Tom Scholz, with a little bit of Brad Delp sprinkled in there, because he came way after. And Tom Scholz is the main songwriter, plays bass, guitar, organ.
He played everything on this record except for the drums and the vocals.
Right.
But he did everything else, and then he ended up hiring a band to play live because there was no band. There was no name either. There was no name for the band. They named the band after they were signed and right before they played their first gig.
Yeah, this is a band that had never even played a show before they got signed. And it's crazy. It's funny because if you read a lot of articles and a lot of things online, Tom will talk about how he got all these rejection letters. And there's one, infamously, he framed from like Epic that was like a really harsh rejection letter saying like, you're not good enough. And then you kind of feel sorry for him. But then you realize like, dude, you never even played a fucking show.
I know.
Like, you never did anything. Like, you just sent a bunch of tapes out and then expected to get signed. Like, what did you think was going to happen? Like, you didn't put any of your dues in, your music industry dues. You never signed, you never traveled, you never played crummy shows, you never got paid nothing, you never skipped dinner. Like, you never did any of the things that make up what people think a band should be doing.
Yeah. It kind of makes you think, like, were they at like a plant, like a record industry plant? That's kind of what I was getting when I was reading more about them.
There's a couple songs on here, like lyrically, that I thought like, this guy's full of shit and I don't trust him. But
that's what I've thinking too.
But More Than a Feeling is just, this is straightforward, man. This is just a really well written song. Dude, even the solo was boss. It's got a quick lead up with Delp. When do we know somebody named Delp? Who do we know with Delp in high school?
I don't know.
Amber Delp, friend of the pod.
Amber Delp. That's
Amber Delp,
right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that was Chris's cousin.
Really?
Yeah, she was Chris's cousin. Yeah.
Oh.
Weird, right?
That. Yeah. Oh, not weird. We went to the same high school, so it's not weird, but weird to think about.
Yeah, because they're just two wildly different people, personality, everything wise. Yeah.
Yeah, because I knew her, but I never in high school knew Chris,
which is so weird.
We had a big high school though.
Yeah, I mean, I was friends with Amber too. Like, especially freshman year, I was friends with her a lot. I mean, I hung out with her a lot. But Chris, obviously, I've known forever. But
that's not
continue.
I mean, even though you just said that's his cousin, that's not his aunt. That's younger than him, right?
No, his aunt is Kelly, who's younger than him, and then Kelly and Amber are cousins. So actually, technically, Amber is a second cousin, I guess. Kind of, or like a weird aunt cousin thing. I don't know.
No.
Does that make sense?
The weird aunt that buys like oils and candles, like in Wedding Crashers, from the crazy aunt.
Oh yeah.
Dude, no,
fucking
more than a
guy.
feeling. More than a feeling. It's cool,
more than a feeling.
dude. It's got a cool swell in, and this song is fucking dumb, dude. This song is all dumb. Adding like the claps to the pre-chorus riff.
It's so good.
It's so good. It's so good, and the transitions from the chorus to the verses are just they're bootleg, dude. They're bootleg. They're not really well thought out. They're very prog in mindset, but they're not executed well enough. They're very elementary. The song is like the song is a very stripped down arena rock version of like Don't Stop Believin'.
Yeah, definitely, and just none of that cheesiness like you were saying earlier. Man, it's so good.
Dude, in the bass, like even like the bass, like so Tom Schultz plays bass and if not all of these songs, and he also he writes the song, lead guitar, acoustic, everything. But he has some cool licks in this. There's some cool like fast hammer-ons and shit that he does in here that are really really cool. And like above all else on this entire record of Boston's entire discography, this song perfectly demonstrates what I strive for is a perfect guitar tone. I love this guitar tone, and it's vintage, but it's not like old. And it's rock and roll, but it's not like too overly crunchy and distorted. You can still hear everything. You can still hear the lows, the highs, the mid range. I think this is the perfect guitar tone that's like damn well ever been.
Yeah, you're right. And what's crazy too is that in the late 70s or early 80s, he created his own guitar pedal, and he got really into creating electronics. And he even has a pedal that is the Boston sound, and he created a whole company around the Boston sound, which is so cool. It's so fucking cool.
He
and
probably made a fuck ton of money too, because that is a perfect sound.
Yeah, it really is. And not just the electric sound, but the acoustic. All the acoustic guitars sound fantastic on this record, and then bringing it back to the bass playing, like what's really cool about him too is that he doesn't play the bass like a guitar player. He plays the bass like a bass player, but then that doesn't happen very often. Like I know he's like considered like a music product or like a child prodigy, and like he studied musical theory, and like he's like a through and through musician. And it's crazy that it really shows. Like it's one of those few examples where like one of those kind of people can write really good catchy songs and not just make a bunch of technical babble.
I did feel myself reading the music prodigy thing and thinking like, just because I'm jelly, you know, and I was like, well, if you're a music prodigy, why don't you record yourself on the drums, huh? And so I
you're that dickhead.
Yeah, I'm like that what do you call it? That petty.
Yeah.
But it would have been really cool if this was like a Probot type of thing. Like he did, like literally did everything. That'd be fucking rad, and just hired people to tour with him. But no, but like that's cool. Like he does a fucking fantastic job at just not only being the lead guitar, but then also allowing Delp to do like, you know, like the acoustic part that Delp did, and then allowing other people like Barry to do other rhythm guitar and lead guitar parts on Foreplay Long Time, and allowing the other person, I don't know who the fuck the person's name was, to play the bass on other songs. And it's just like that's cool that you can write these tracks, you can write really good stuff, but then you can also take a step back and let other people kind of put their own input in there.
And not only all the instruments and everything that he plays on this record, but he produced and engineered this record. Like this is all, like that's a lot of work. That's a ton of work, and that drives a lot of people like in the business crazy. Like I know, for example, Thrice, when they recorded Alchemy Index, Tepe had like he was going crazy because not only was he writing and recording guitars, but he was engineering and producing that record. And that's a huge, I mean, you like that record a lot, and you understand like the diversity and the intricacies of that record, and imagine doing all of that. Like,
There's
not
no
even
way.
stepping back. Yeah, like it would drive anybody crazy.
And that's
I
with
don't
the
know.
help of like modern technology.
Yeah,
we're talking
that's
like-
with Pro
like-
Tools. Yeah,
Like Tom Schultz wrote fucking Foreplay. That's like the first song he ever wrote. And that's like oh God.
there he is.
That was on he wrote that on a 2-track. Like
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
to-
Same with More Than a Feeling. That was on a 2-track as well.
to think that he can write these. Dude, I'm dying.
You're dead. DED, dead. So annoying.
I know I could mute it, but I can't because my hands are busy accentuating my coughing.
Yeah, you're always moving your hands, right?
Dude, I don't know what happened right now. More Than a Feeling's pretty dope. It's a love
It is
song,
really
right?
good. Yeah, lyrically, there's nothing too deep on this record, lyrically, but this one was weird. It is a love song. How he's so torn up about a lost love, and when he plays when he hears certain songs, it just brings him right back, and the reminiscing, and how when the song ends, like everything just kind of crashes down. But then in an interview, Brad was saying that this was about an older cousin of his, or a much older cousin of his named Marianne, who was just a very beautiful person, or a very,
Yeah.
very beautiful girl. And that kind of gave it like a weird,
That
a
was
weird thing.
that was gross.
And then did you read about his suicide?
Delps?
Yeah.
Yeah.
About how like he got caught with a hidden camera
Yeah.
in his fiance's sister's room.
Yes.
And then he committed suicide after he got caught.
Well, it wasn't like right after he got caught, but
It was shortly after. It kind of seems like he was a weird dude.
I'm sure he's a fucking weird dude. Like after coming off like Boston's Boston and making so much money and being so famous, and I don't know, dude, all these rock stars are fucking weird.
All right, so we got anything else to say about More Than a Feeling?
Nope.
More Than a Feeling. Okay, let's get into your 1B then. So I mean, obviously it's Foreplay, Long Time. So you want to play a little bit of it first and then get into it? How do you want to do this one? 'Cause it's essentially 2 songs.
First of all, when you say Foreplay Long Time, it reminds me of like that scene in Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket,
Yeah. So that's
of course.
kind of funny, I guess.
Did this album come out after that Full Metal Jacket? I don't know,
No.
because it might have. Let me see. Oh, excuse me. Full Metal Jacket.
Jacket.
Came out-
That's how I say it.
Yeah, it's came out in '87. So yeah, way after this album.
Yeah. So Full Metal Jacket
Okay.
stole from this album.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
But yeah, Foreplay Long Time. I mean, even if you take out Foreplay, which I think is just unfucking touchable as an instrumental,
Yeah.
Long Time's still good. Long Time is still a fucking really badass song, and there's a lot of parts to it that I think are really cool that I really dug into. But if you
Mhm.
want to play it first, go ahead because I got it queued up.
How about we'll play Foreplay right now, talk about that, and then we'll talk about Long Time and play Long Time.
Okay.
Sound good?
Okay.
Sound good to you?
Okay.
Okay, so here's Foreplay, or just Foreplay. Here we go. There you go. There's a bit of Foreplay, the beginning part of this song. Oh man, dude, it's so fucking good. So what else do we have on this instrumental part? It almost shouldn't belong, but it does.
It's just you're right. Like some of the transitions on this album don't make a whole lot of sense. Like even coming from Peace of Mind into Foreplay doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's they're kind of two completely different songs. Like Peace of Mind going into Long Time would have been fine, but Foreplay is just it's too dirty. It's too hard rock. It's too gritty for this album. And
It's too proggy. It's just out there. There's no rhyme or reason to have it, just to have it there.
it's just like,
but
dude, that like the drumming part is just coming in with this really broken up drum roll the entire time.
Yeah.
where it's not like a traditional drum roll, but it's still not like a fancy one. It's just barely broken up enough to be kind of like cool. And I don't know, man. It's so good. So even online, I read somewhere, I read on Wiki or wherever it was, that someone had wrote that Foreplay is a perfect blend of like Zeppelin and Yes. And I totally dig it. I totally dig.
I could see the Yes, but not the Zeppelin.
Dude,
I don't see the Zeppelin.
It is just as gritty. It is just as heavy. It is just as nasty as some of like Zeppelin 2 to 3.5 era.
4 was pretty gritty too. After 4 was when they kind of.
Well, you hate 4, but like
I love 4.
2 to 3 for sure.
Where is this 4 thing coming from? I don't.
Because you hate 4. We
makes
always
no
talk.
sense.
You
Like-
always say like Stairway's fucking stupid and overplayed, and 4 opens up with like rock and roll
That's what
and
you
Black
say.
Dog. No, that's what you say. You don't like it.
No, that's what you say.
I think 4 is I think 4 is their second best album. I think 4 is a
I
fucking
think
banger.
4 is leaps and bounds better than 3 for sure.
But you would still rank 4 as probably like their 9th album, so that's fine. But yeah, dude, Foreplay is just it's I don't know. It's one of those things you need to hear to fully experience, because even as much as we can talk about how rad that riff is, it's better. It's better because he wrote it, or Tom wrote it on the Oregon, and
The Oregon Trail.
and when it comes in on the album, it's fine the first time, and you're like, wow, that's a really good bass line. But then you only realize that the bass is still coming.
Yeah.
And then the bass drops. You're like, holy shit, that's even lower than I had initially anticipated it coming in as. Wow. And it's so uncomfortable, and it literally blows my mind every time I listen to it.
It really catches you
Literally.
off guard. But it keeps you just wanting more of it. It's so unique. It's so unique in itself. I love it. I truly love that part. And this is also one of those songs that, or at least that part of the song, Foreplay, was a song that was written prior to the band. So it was actually written 6 years before this album came out. And I guess it was kind of one of the first things he ever did. And like you were talking about earlier, he recorded it on a 2-track. Yeah, I think that's even cooler. Like to bring something that old into this band just seems very strange. But then it makes sense too in the context of this record, because it sounds nothing like the rest of the record, which was written at that time.
This is what confuses me about this band is one, I love Schultz's his tenacity. I love that he goes after it, for 6 years. And this was like one of the first full songs that he wrote was Foreplay, and he wrote that all himself, and like that was his baby, his mastermind. And I like that it ended up on the record. And I think sequencing wise, like it's absolutely fucking perfect. But
Yeah, because it does break up like I don't want to say monotony, but it breaks up the powerhouse of those 3 really catchy melodic songs. And it does it so it almost makes like all the songs more exciting than the last, because you have that break. You have this weird thing that is Foreplay, and it's just there. And I don't know, it's really good.
Yeah, there's no way, because like More Than a Feeling is arena rock. It's arena rock kind of at its best. Besides like some Queen stuff, which I know you also hate Queen, like Led Zeppelin 4. But More Than a Feeling is like arena rock almost at its best. And Peace of Mind comes in, and it kind of is like bridging the arena rock into like the hard rock category. But like, where do you go from there? Do you go back into arena rock? Do you go back into hard rock? And so if you just had Long Time right after Peace of Mind, I don't think it would have been as effective had it not been for Foreplay. You need Foreplay there. But again, that's why I don't understand this band, and like lyrically, not really this song, because lyrically I don't give a fuck about this song lyrically. But
I mean, it's all the songs, really.
there's 2 songs on here that really got me though. There's 2 songs on here that really got me in a, not like an emotional way where I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. But it got me in a way where I'm like, is this guy doing a long con on me? Are you joking my ass right now? Like that type of lyricism. Because we're talking one dude. We're talking Tom by himself. He is Boston. He just hired a bunch of people. Brad Delp, which just happened to be there the kind of the longest. And it's just I don't know, man. Is this a joke band? Did like Tom just write a bunch of shit and just I don't know. I don't know.
I know. It's such a weird thing. And considering I meant to bring this up earlier too, but it's weird because this was really the only like I feel really good thing that Tom Scholz ever did. Like truly great thing was this one record. And what's even stranger to me was that like we said, the band never played any shows. It wasn't even a band. It was just Tom Scholz and Brad Delp. That's pretty much what the band was. And then they were signed to a 6-year record deal for 10 albums. So 10 albums in 6 years, which they never did. But they were sued. They eventually got sued for that by Epic or CBS, I guess, who owns Epic Records. But yeah, so I mean, how does a record label sign a band that has literally done nothing for 10 records in 6 years?
Especially after already denying that same band.
That's why I kind of think this is a plant. It's another reason why I think this band or Tom Scholz was a plant. Well, and it's not unheard of. I mean, look at bands like the Monkees. They were clearly a plant, but they were more obvious about it. And I feel like
they never hit it.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe this is like kind of one of those instances where the record label really tried to hide that this was a plant, and then in the end they just realized, okay, maybe if we did that, it would kind of ruin the whole thing. And I mean, things like that eventually did ruin record labels, like Milli Vanilli. Look at that, Milli Vanilli were huge, and then it came out that they were a plant and they were completely fake, and then it completely ruined their careers and. One of them actually committed suicide. So
were they ever really huge? I don't know.
No, they were. No, Milli Vanilli were huge. Yeah, no, they sold a shit ton of records. Yeah, no, they were very popular. They made their record label a ton of money, and they were flat out a plant. That's kind of what I wanted to bring up was that record contract, because it seems outrageous for a band that has done nothing and never didn't even come close to writing 10 albums at all. So.
It's so bizarre that like this band and like even like Journey, right? Like Journey is what I've always compared this band to is because Don't Stop Believing and then fucking dude, I can't
Wheels in the Sky.
No, more than a feeling. Like those two songs are both like bar anthems. But you look at Don't Stop Believing, that was like 1982, 1981. Yeah. That was in the 80s. Like that was almost a decade after this came out. And I just don't.
But that was also like a band who had already been established for almost a decade prior to that.
True. That was like their 6th or 7th fucking album
before that song blew up. And Steve Perry wasn't even the original singer. He was, I don't even know what singer in that lineup, how many. I think they maybe had 4 singers over their career, but it was not the original.
And Journey had a lot of other hits prior to that, like the Any Way You Want.
Oh yeah,
that's the way you need it.
Dude,
and
I don't like
the riff.
That.
That's a cool riff though. Right there.
I don't like, dude. I don't like Journey. I really don't like Journey.
With that riffage, that's good stuff.
Oh my god! Do you remember when we met? What's his name? Randy Jackson.
Oh yeah.
We met Randy Jackson,
that was so stupid. We were so
who formerly played in Journey. Yeah. Formerly played in Journey, and our friend Joe didn't know this, and we told him, "Oh yeah, Randy Jackson's he's an old race car driver. Go talk to him about it." And sure enough, Joe believed us, and he did. And Randy Jackson was super nice about it. He just played along. He said, "Oh yeah," talked about race cars or NASCAR, whatever the fuck Joe asked him, and Joe looked like a fucking fool.
Well, I mean, personally for me, this was at a time where Randy Jackson for me was one thing, and he was American Idol.
American Idol, yeah.
At this time, I had no idea that Randy Jackson actually was a semi-respected musician, and so when. In my mind, when we told Joe that he was a professional race car driver, that's what made it so great, because I thought he was just a face. I not that like playing in Journey is like anything to write home about, but that's something. That's something.
I don't even know who came up with that idea of a race car driver. It's just so stupid. It's so dumb. Like, why would a race car driver be at the NAMM show, a music convention?
It's just one of those things where, like, we're 16, 17 years old, and what's the first thing that pops in your head? He's a race car driver. Oh, really? Yeah. He's the biggest. Yeah.
Oh,
Fucking
so stupid.
idiots.
That was great. Anyway, let's get back to this band. Bad
Yeah.
Company. No, Boston.
Bad
Um,
Company. Oh, that's the worst of the three, though.
They're all the same, except they're not. And do we? Oh, so let's. Do you want to get into Long Time then? The second part of the song.
Long Time's dope, dude. Long Time's fucking rad. Those so like, there's a lot of like staccato bass going on with organ sounds, just sort of the noodling off on like the random offbeats. And I think that's rad. And then there's a lot of like chicka chickas when the chorus hits. Before the chorus hits, all those chicka
It's
chickas.
so good.
Come on, dude. Like this is
And
pop punk in its infancy right here.
The chicka chickas, but the acoustic chicka chickas.
Yeah, acoustic
That's
chicka
what-
chickas.
That's what gets me the most. Like that is my favorite part of this entire record are those acoustic chicka chickas. The acoustic chicka chickas with the vocals on top of it, laid on top of it. Forget about it. It's perfect. That is literally the best part of this record for me.
I wonder if that's like the first time we've ever heard like chicka chickas, like acoustic chicka chickas.
No. Maybe. No. I know.
What you mean?
I'm sure
no,
the Beatles were
that's-
doing it or something.
What the fuck? Oh my god! Here we go. I can't think of anything, so I'll just revert to the Beatles. The Beatles. Duh, duh, duh.
And what's cool about the acoustic chicka chickas, they do it a few times, and then at the very end, the last time, it's the electric guitar playing that part, and it's just like such a great way to end the song, really, and just it's that build up into it. It's so good. Is there? I don't remember. Is there a long like interlude between Long Time and Foreplay, or do you have a timestamp or anything like that?
No, there's not like a long interlude. I think like the 2-minute mark is probably right about.
Yeah, that's where Foreplay ends. So
Yeah.
So yeah, let's. I'll just play Long Time or part of Long Time, and here we go. A little bit of Long Time,
So catchy.
dude. And just the electric guitar leads on here. I mean, dude, the way he bends those notes is just so perfectly placed within the song. Like there are moments where he's not winking, but oh my god, dude, his lead guitar playing is fucking top notch. And he never. There's really never a moment where he like really wanks to the point where it's distracting. Like it's always so perfectly placed and it's so well balanced within the song. And dude, this song is perfect. It's an absolute perfect song. Melody, everything. You can't fuck with it. Cannot fuck with it. I love that part. It is so good. And I've been wondering too, and I looked it up, but I couldn't really find anything. But I was curious as to whether or not Brad Delp had, if he did all like the harmonies, or if it was just, or if like the other guys in the band were doing the harms, or if maybe like Tom Scholz was like that kind of crazy in the studio and just recorded Brad Delp doing all of his own harms, which I thought would be. I thought I would be able to find something about it, but I couldn't find anything because it does sound like he does harmonize with himself.
Yeah, I've so like listening to this album and then reading more about it, I think that Tom pretty much gave Brad like 100% freedom to do all vocal melodies, and then if Brad wanted Tom to harmonize, he would have allowed him to, because you're right, it definitely sounds like Brad's harmonizing with himself,
which is cool. I mean, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's fine.
Because he does it so well, and it adds so much to the big hooks, like in More Than a Feeling. Like there's so many layers of vocals on that song, but it all sounds like Brad. So unless somehow Tom manipulated those harms, but it really does sound like Brad. So I guess our best guess is that he did all of it, but which is really cool. I think that's Brad.
It's Brad.
It's Brad, bro. It's Brad.
So
Brad,
your biggest B, your 1B is Peace of Mind.
Peace of Mind. Oh my God, yeah. It takes the best of More Than a Feeling. Like I was saying, it takes the best of More Than a Feeling, and it doesn't make it cheesy. And I love that hook. That hook. It's almost like this buildup of a hook, but it's not. Like he sings in a lower octave at the beginning, and then the subtle difference of him going higher it makes it for me. I think I don't know. It's so good. And then I was reading more about it, and a lot of people at the time praised him for his range. And this is one of those songs where I mean, it really shows his range. So I think it's fantastic. It's super, super great.
Here's my first line of my notes for this song, and I wrote, and then this guy, and I always put like quotations around guy because I do my fingers like I'm Italian, and this fucking guy.
This fucking guy.
And then this guy starts off this song, and it's not even fast or quick, but why do I feel so panicked? Like why do I feel like this? It's so good. That's like the first thing I thought of when I heard this song. I said, why the fuck are you making me feel like this when nothing you're doing should make me feel like this?
No, not at all. And it kind of makes you think, like, knowing Tom Scholz's background, was this all? It had to have been all intentional.
It has to
be.
Like
he knew how to invoke certain feelings within people and write a song around that. I don't know.
It's like some Beethoven-esque thing, right? Like this, like composing music rather than writing songs. Like that's a difference between Tom Scholz and then like Journey. That's what's going on here.
Yeah, totally. But what's also so weird is that this was the only time it ever worked for him. Like really worked for Tom Scholz.
Well, you got
because everything after this is just, some of it's good, but a lot of it's not.
To be fair, he needs. Dude, like, what if Tom Scholz hooked up with one of the great songwriters of our time, or not even of like the '70s, mid to late '70s? Like, what could have happened had Tom Scholz hooked up with somebody to push him? Had he found his Keith Richards, had he found like his John Lennon, like what could have happened to this band? How big could this band have been?
True, but also he was so talented in his own right that he doesn't need somebody like that. But
he does.
Like Keith Richards needs a Mick Jagger, but like I don't know, Tom Scholz doesn't. He doesn't need that.
He does
he's
need
too
that
good.
Because otherwise he's a one-hit wonder. And yeah, Boston's Boston #2 is good, but like it's nothing compared to Boston's Boston.
True.
Like nothing Boston has ever done has even held a light next to what this album is, and that's where this band is a one-hit wonder that bled themselves for far too long.
Yeah. You're right. You're totally right. And they're still playing huge fucking venues,
because of this album.
Yeah, because of this album. It's remarkable. It's really remarkable.
Dude, I'd fucking see this band if they played this album in its entirety.
I know, I would too. I'd be so stoked. Even though Brad is no longer there, but
I'd still see him.
Oh my God. Just to see these three songs, More Than a Feeling, Peace of Mind, and Foreplay Long Time. I mean, those three songs right there would be worth the admission price of like $20.
Fact. $20 to go see Boston, sure.
No, because they're one of those bands that plays a lot of like the summer fair, like the Orange County Fair and shit. They play shows like that. They do.
Okay, all right.
Like Supertramp always plays those. So my mom always goes and sees Supertramp.
Supertramp and Boston are not on the same level. Boston is it's like comparing Zeppelin to fucking.
But Supertramp
Tiger
had more
Army.
hits. Supertramp had more hits though.
People don't know.
Boston only had like the one big one, the More Than a Feeling. But Supertramp, like just off of Breakfast in America, they have like 3 or 4 hits.
Yeah, but you're talking like More Than a Feeling is arguably one of the most popular songs like ever.
It's up there. It's up there for sure.
I mean, I would for sure say that More Than a Feeling may be not like the most successful, not the best, just popular wise. I think More Than a Feeling would probably be like in the top 20 most popular songs ever written.
That's a good argument. That's a very good argument. It's definitely up there with most played, most popular. Yeah.
I mean, along with Don't Stop Believin', unfortunately.
Don't Stop Believin', Black Sabbath's Iron Man, Deep Purple, Smoke on a Water, John Lennon's Imagine.
But Johnny Be Good, like a lot of these songs are just,
or Let It Be, the Beatles. Yeah, I mean, it's up there for sure.
or Surfing USA by the Beach Boys.
Yeah, no, Surfing. No, you're laughing, but it's true. Surfing USA was.
I don't know about
It's
top, I don't know
huge.
about 20, but
It's up there. Surfing USA is definitely up there. Think about how many bands have covered that stupid song. That song's stupid.
it's so good.
Anyway, let's play a little bit of Peace of Mind, and then we'll get more into it. So here it is from Boston. There it is, Peace of Mind from the Bostons. Man, dude, those harms in that chorus, just the woos. It's the woos. They're so stupid, but oh my god, it adds so much depth to that chorus. I love it to death. That's an amazing song. Can't fuck with it.
It's
And then it starts out with the acoustic kind of chicka chickas too.
That's what I'm telling you, man. Like, it's not. This song is not. It starts off not fast or quick or anything, but I don't know. Do you feel like panicked? Do you feel like rushed? Do you
I don't-
just feel weird?
No, I don't feel like that. I feel like it picks up very quickly. So
For
maybe
no
there's like
reason.
some for no reason, yeah. But it does pick up very very quickly. But it doesn't sound bad. Like it's not done in a bad way at all.
Like that sequencing between More Than a Feeling and this one, and the Peace of Mind is I mean, like if we're talking about like prog rock, like I don't know, changing tempos, changing formats, changing mindsets. I mean, this is the most
Yeah.
prog thing that they've done on this album is going from More Than a Feeling to this, because it makes no fucking sense to go to more from More Than a Feeling, and I feel safe, I feel at home, I feel relaxed, and then Peace
Yeah.
of Mind starts up, and I feel like I'm getting attacked.
Maybe think about it this way too. Like this is what just came across my mind was that these three songs, it was meant to be that way. Like More Than a Feeling is through and through like a pop hit. Like there's nothing prog about it. There's nothing weird or uncomfortable about that song. But then you start with this song, and like you said, maybe it is a little uncomfortable. It's a little weird, and then it immediately jumps into it. But I feel like that maybe is a small preparation for what you're going to get with Foreplay, because Foreplay is just out of its fucking mind. So I feel like this is like a precursor to that, to help you unconsciously get in that mindset of weirdness, but not to
Okay.
overdo it. So Foreplay doesn't seem so out of bounds or so out there for you. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe
No,
that's
that makes
completely
total sense.
crazy.
because Peace of Mind is like a precursor to Foreplay. Foreplay is so out of the ordinary just because it's so heavy, but Peace of Mind is very much like that too. Peace of Mind is very abstract for this album, for this band.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Foreplay, Peace of Mind would be the most abstract song they've ever done. But
Yeah.
I think that's solid. I think that's like a good preparation for Foreplay, but we don't
Could
even
we-
realize it's happening.
Could we say that the A side is a perfect prog record? Like it's a perfect condensed prog record,
Absolutely.
because it really has so many highs and lows, and it's so trippy. It's a fucked up.
Because
It's fucked
even
up.
like Peace of Mind, like in much like prog's mentality. So like Peace of Mind, if you start the song at 3:50, I timestamped this. If you start the song at 3 minutes and 50 seconds, which is already a long fucking song for this time period, if you start
Yeah.
the song at 3:50, you hear essentially a condensed version of this entire song. Like they just did an entire song, and then now at 3:50, they're gonna redo the same song that we just heard, but in like a minute and a half. And that is fucking prog and its mindset, like to a T.
You're totally right.
Dope.
Damn, dude, what a fucking band.
What an annoying
shit.
fucking band though. Like how irritating is this band? This band's
And
so
you know what's-
irritating.
Like when it comes to like prog bands too, like normally prog bands have like kind of cool lyrics because they tell a story. This band does not tell a story though.
Not at all.
It's like some of the most generic lyrics, which is fine. But when you have something I feel like is more intricate than you initially believe, like you got to have something better here. Lyrically.
I almost like attribute this to I mean, I'm a big Beethoven guy because I own
Well, I'm sure because you own one
9
record.
symphonies on
Oh.
Beethoven. So I'm clearly a big Beethoven guy, but like I attribute this to, like, what if Beethoven wrote lyrics, you know? Like his
Yeah.
his symphonies are so intricate. They're so good. They will live in infamy forever. But like, what if you wrote
Yeah.
lyrics? Would they be just as good, or would they be stupid? And that's kind of not that like Tom is the
Nah.
main the song. Not like Tom is the main songwriter here. I don't know. I don't know what their songwriting process was like, but you know, the music just doesn't seem to match the songwriting.
No, it doesn't. What an unusual band.
Well,
Really,
so
what an
let's
unusual
get into the songwriting. So there's two songs that really got me. One was Rock and Roll Band, the fourth track, which is also my 4-banger.
That's my 5B, but okay.
I my first thing was is this song a fucking joke? Like is this lyrically?
It has to be a joke.
Is this song a joke? Like this song is a typical song about the troubles of starting a band and roughing it out for the first several years,
Yeah, riding in a van and
which Boston never did.
no, never did. And then I think even Tom Schultz said like this is like he was inspired by Aerosmith to write this song because they went through all that. But he flat out said we never did it, but I wanted to write a song about it, so here it is. And
But that was like
I don't know
years after this song came out. Did he just get caught lying?
maybe because they're probably a plant. Like I really believe that this band was a plant, a record label plant.
Dude,
Like
this
one
song fully like supports that theory.
I really think it is because you're right too. And
Rock
not-
and
not
roll
only-
band? Are you kidding me? The song title
Not a-
Rock and Roll Band?
Well, it's
Come
not
on.
even the lyrics. It's the song itself. It's so straightforward, and it's not like it's very kind of basic. It almost reminds me of like the boring rock of Chicago. Even though this is a really good song, because there is enough there to like keep
Yeah.
you interested, but it has a lot of elements of bands like Chicago who are just super fucking plain old people boring. And I don't know. I think this was intentional, and it was meant to say that we're a plant. Because they are. And as we've been talking over the last hour and a half or however long we've been potting, I believe it more and more now. Because there's no way this band is not a plant.
Okay.
I don't believe. And then also, and when you think about it too, like the fighting between Brad and Tom, and you know just all that stuff, like that even makes it seem even more like a plant. Like nobody seemed like really fulfilled by the music, and they were just kind of doing it to do it. There was no real like passion behind anything outside of this record. I don't know.
Well, that would make sense because Brad, who had been hired to sing, now all of a sudden wants to write.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, bro, we hired you to sing. We hired you to lead, not to read, as the Simpsons
What?
way, Wolf Castle.
Oh,
That was a Simpsons joke. Not funny
Simpsons
for those of us that don't watch funny TV like you.
well, I mean, I watch a lot of funny TV, just not The Simpsons. 'Cause it's not
So
that funny.
you know, it would make sense because if Brad was hired to just kind of be like a hired singer, then if he wants to start writing music, that's going to clash with the overall mindset of Tom. But I don't think Tom himself is a plant. I think Tom just will take any fucking money he can get because of
Yeah.
spending so much. I mean, given that the internet is feeding me accurate information.
True.
I think Tom is just a guy that's living in his basement for far too long, and Epic Records, who had already said, "Nah, dude, hard pass." Tom was like, "What?
So weird.
What do you want me to do?" And then
Well,
Epic
I
said,
think it was
"Here is an outline of what we need from you," and then Tom did that, and then got a record deal for 10 fucking albums, which is just
well.
crazy for a band that had never played a live fucking show. And then
Mm-hmm.
they tricked everybody because Epic wanted them to record in I think it was like Hollywood or somebody or
Yeah.
somebody.
No, it was in
somewhere.
LA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Epic wanted the Boston band to record in LA, but they tricked them and then like wrote like fake letters that were like postage stamped from LA and then like tricked the execs just so they could record in the basement of Tom's
Yeah.
house. And it's
And
just
then
like
he
it's-
recorded everything there, and then he took all the tracks that he recorded, brought those to LA, and then Brad sang on those in LA. That's what it was.
It just no, you're right. Like
It's
this,
so
this
weird.
seems like a fucking plant, and I think the plant is after Tom got that paycheck. I think Epic offered. I mean, if I could just speculate here, you know,
Which you can.
I can
No
just
restrictions.
speculate.
Yeah.
I think Tom is a legitimate musician who knows how to play music, and he's very talented. I think, but above all else, he wants to be a rock star, and he because it's so bizarre.
But see, he didn't though. Like everything you read, he doesn't want to become like he never was in the limelight. He kind of strayed away from it.
Then why did
like,
he go to Epic
shit.
twice? Because Epic denied him once, and then he went.
Well,
back.
I think it was.
That's so fucking weird.
But even Tom has said in interviews that there were I forgot the two guys' names. One of them was a manager who he ended up having a huge falling out with, and it was actually them who got in touch with Epic Records the second time. And after they got in touch with Epic, that's when Epic signed him. And he said it was all politics. It was all politics as to why the band got signed. And that leads me to believe he probably made some deal with the managers, and the managers did their thing with the label, got him signed. And what I'm thinking is that Tom ended up owing the managers X amount of money and not paying them. So that's why there was that huge falling out between the two of them, at least two of them, I think. And then eventually CBS CBS owned Epic, I guess, at the time. And then CBS eventually sued Tom because I think there was a lot of like shady dealings and a lot of like backdoor dealings that a lot of people don't know, because there's no reason as to why all of a sudden out of nowhere CBS would sue them, and all of the relationships between Tom and this manager fell apart, like completely fell apart. Like there had to have been something like way more nefarious or backdoor or something back in the mid 70s.
Yeah,
because it just doesn't make any fucking sense.
Especially because so when you have a band that's already been established, like Van Halen, who have already been established, who have already been playing shows, who have been playing shows in LA, and then they get a manager, and then they get a record deal. If the manager at that point fucks the band over, the band are already friends. They're already close-knit, and then fighting with the manager is one thing. But this wasn't a band. This is one guy, Tom.
It was Tom,
who hired a bunch of people, and then who's fighting with the manager. So that doesn't make any sense. That's not in line of what we know as the rock star life.
True, and then reading about it too, Tom was the one who had the falling out, not Brad. And then another thing I was reading that supposedly led to Brad's suicide was Brad wrote a lot of it in his notes, or like toward the end of his life, that he was always the middleman between Tom and the other band members, or Tom and the managers. Yeah, like he was always stuck in the middle, and it always like made him like nervous. It always gave him a lot of anxiety. The depression and all that stuff. So it had to have been something way, way weirder and crazier.
I mean, you always got to kind of
their fucking plan.
You always kind of have to, not always, but you always should take like last requests, like deathbed confessions as almost gospel, because like what do they got to lose?
Literally nothing.
Like, you're gonna fucking die anyway. So like, what do you got to lose? So I totally agree when Brad is calling out things that kind of drove him to depression, drove him to whatever state of mind he was in. You gotta kind of take that as word, as truth, as fact. And
exactly.
I think that is true. I mean, just like looking at the overall picture, dude. Tom is in the basement for 6-7 years trying to create something that would become Boston. Just can't seem to do it.
Then also after Brad committed suicide, there was Tom put forth a giant defamation lawsuit against his estate, and then eventually lost. And then tried to refile the lawsuit, and then lost again. Or the judge decided not to even.
That was a little different, though. That was because the Brad estate specifically named Tom as the reason why Brad committed suicide, and was like, "Hey, he committed suicide because you're a dick." And then Tom was like, "What the fuck? Like, no, that's not entirely accurate. That's not right." And then he sued for the defamation, but it was ruled that, because it was a suicide and because Brad had mentioned Tom in some capacity, and because the Brad estate did not specifically say that Tom was the reason for the suicide, but a factor up until the suicide, then that's why it was thrown out. But that's just more
it's
like
still it's a weird thing to even be brought up.
But I mean, I don't blame the Brad estate doing that, nor do I blame Tom for trying to rebut
Well,
that.
what is
that
the right
claim.
word?
I have no idea.
Or to make a rebuttal, I guess that might be a way of saying it.
To make a rebuttal, to rebut.
I don't know. Is that a word?
But I feel like every episode we have one phrase or one turn of phrase that we have no idea how to conjugate in English.
We
even
can't-
though
we can't
speak
figure it
fucking
out.
English.
Oh, it's terrible.
So yeah,
Oh, fuck.
whatever. That's cool. I too agree that. Not that I completely agree with you on this is a plan, but I see it. And then again, like Rock and Roll Band, like the opener for side 2. Like I think side 1 may have been like a good interpretation of what Tom wants for this band. Tom said, "Hey, here are the 3 songs I want to bring for this band. I think this is what I want the band to sound like." And then side 2 is the record label getting their fingers in there, because dude, opening a side 2 with the track title Rock and Roll Band,
It's so
come
suspicious.
on. And like this is not even like, even though you're right, this is a fucking cool song. But it's so cheesy. Like it's every fucking it's every rock and roll sound that you've ever heard. And then they put in like live crowd screams. And it's fucking goofy. It's stupid. This is just your typical rock and roll song. It's got, I mean, it has charm, unfortunately, but that's only because of like the dueling guitars. And overall, it's just very fun. And it never lets up. So it's always kind of like, it's always driving forward. But dude, this is so fucking cheesy.
It is. That's why it's my 5B. It's weird. It's all fucking weird, man. It's all weird.
Dude, that last pick slide though into the so like the last like 3 seconds is just this really and then
I don't even
dope.
remember there.
Fucking dope.
Yeah.
So good.
All right, so that was. Should we play Rock and Roll Band or?
Nah,
what?
that's all right. I don't care about playing any more of these because I got a bunch of negative things to say about a lot of these lyrics coming up.
Okay, I don't really care to play anything else. Yeah, either. I mean, not to say that they're bad because they're not. They're very good. Almost every song on this record is a banger. So yeah, I mean, my 4B was Smoking, so we might as well get into that, right?
Yeah,
or do you want to talk about something else?
I have 6 bangers. There's 8 songs. I have 6 bangers.
Okay, I got 7 of 8. But
Okay.
okay.
Which one is not a banger for you?
The last song, Let Me Take You Home Tonight. Not to say it's
Damn,
bad.
That's my 5B.
Because you're dumb.
Okay,
It's always
all
the
right.
dumb songs that you like.
I love the annoyingness of the chorus. That's what it is.
Is that all? Is that the only?
Yes.
I don't
Plus,
get it.
the last couple minutes are fantastic. It double times into the
But
outro.
yeah, what's
Come
not even
on.
the last? It's like the
Come
last
on.
30 seconds. It's like the last 30 seconds that it double times,
Dude, it's
and then it
fucking
fades out.
fantastic.
If that was the whole song, perfect ending to an album. But no. But and so it's like this. It's a weird acoustic kind of style rock song, and the I don't know if you kind of picked up on this, but the hook of this song sounds so much like Afternoon Delight. I forgot who does that, who sings that song, but you know that song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
I
Maker
feel like
Man.
it's what?
For Maker Man.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, it's from Anchorman. But yeah, no, that melody, that hook sounds so much like Afternoon Delight. So I wonder what the kind of, if there was a story behind that, but I couldn't find anything. But outside of that, I don't know. The song it's whatever. There's some cool drum fills, some cool little bass parts, but outside of that, it just didn't do much for me.
Okay, well,
Because I don't like the Afternoon Delight song.
Track 6 and track 7. So Hitch a Ride and then Something About You are both okays for me.
Okay, I mean that's 6 and 7 for me. 6 and 7 banger.
Wow.
But I
But
mean, what do you
6
want to talk about here?
I would like to talk about 6 because even though I don't like it, dude, the lyrics kind of got me. Like got me
Really?
thinking.
Okay.
It got me thinking. Okay, so on the surface here, we're talking. There's a lot of death themes in this, right? It's very opposite of what we know as Boston thus far.
True.
But then I thought, like, okay, so the idea of death in the chorus, it's coming off a little inauthentic. I'm not saying that he can't have these feelings, nor like does he have these feelings, but after listening to Rock and Roll Band and just how fucking cheesy that is, I think there's a potential ruse that he's pulling here. And I think it almost makes sense to throw in a typical being in a band is harder than you think song, and I think that's
Oh,
what
totally,
Hitch a Ride
yeah.
is. I think he's fucking fooling us, dude. I think this is not a. I think this is a bullshit song. I think he's phony. I think he's fake.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of interpreting it, especially after Rock and Roll Band. I totally get it.
There's nothing
more
on this.
of a reason to think they're a plant.
There's nothing on this album that made me think like he is deeper than anything. Like he's superficial.
No.
Not that it's a bad thing. That's just the way he writes. And then the only other song that he kind of gets, I guess, like a different face is Rock and Roll Band, but that's like a two-face. That's like a Joker. That's like a fake face. And then Hitch a Ride comes on.
It's like they're polar opposite songs, but they both feed into what makes like a classic record or a classic record would be the best way to put it.
Yeah, because Hitch a Ride is your typical. It's not your last song because you can't end your album on a low note. You can't do it,
Especially with this band.
That's why Let Me Take You Home Tonight ends on that double time part, because you have to end the album on a high note. Just because you started off with fucking More Than a Feeling, you have to end it on a high note. But then before that, you can't put like your saddest song. There's just Something About You is not like the saddest song. So the next step would be the song right before that, the Hitch a Ride song. I think that's like the sad song of the record.
It
Because
is.
you got to slowly build it back up after you potentially break down the layman. But I'm not fooled. I'm not fooled by this band. I'm fully on board with your ruse now. I get it. They're a fucking plant.
They totally are. I thought that before this, but now after talking more about it, like they're through and through a plant.
100%.
There's no doubt. There's no fucking doubt.
There's no way. He's a
And there's
fucking
no way,
plant, dude.
And there's no way a band like this can sell this many records without a huge push from the record label. Like I could see a band like CCR or Fleetwood Mac, who put out a shit ton of records, put out a lot of singles, a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff. And I can see why those bands sell a lot. But like we were talking about, Boston have one like outstanding record, and that's pretty much it.
Dude, we're like,
oh my God.
We're like fucking Kurt Loder over here. We're exposing things that people never would have even dreamed of.
I know. We're the best. This pod is the
Fact.
best.
It's fact.
This pod is the best.
But all right,
God.
whatever. That's all the bullshit song. Let's get back into smoking.
Okay, yeah, if you want to talk about it, this was like a more blues rock song. Where I really like that guitar riff. It was the only time where I felt like a really like bluesy feel come from him, which was awesome. And then the bass line too, it kind of like walks along, not like Foreplay, but it kind of has that vibe a little bit. And everything is, the chorus is super simple, but it's very catchy. And then just kind of matched with the high guitar parts played along with the blues lines. So good.
This is this is like your typical like rhythm and blues rock and roll song, and
but it's done really well.
Just like blues music though. Like we both love fucking blues music, and we both love like Delta blues, and like a lot of that stuff, if not all of that stuff, is damn near identical. But
Yeah.
It's so good because of its uniqueness per the person playing it. Mm-hmm. And what kind of like what I like about this song is I was listening to this and I thought, this is a transitional song. Like if I'm watching Boston Live, this is a song that they would play in between two bangers, or this is a song that they would not end the show with, but this is the song they would play before they end the show. Or this is a song that they would use to introduce all the band members, because there's a lot of room for soloing. Like, on guitar we have whoever I just hired, and then and like this is that song.
Yeah.
This is the song that they could use to kind of tailor their show and then move the show along into any direction that they want. So I think smoking has like its place, and I think like this boogie like rhythm and blues rock and roll thing has its place in music in general. And this song's fucking fantastic. This song is really good. And this is my 6B, but like, dude, like through and through, I could listen to this whole album all day long and not even ever get bored. This album is so fucking good. It
is front to back. It's fantastic. And this song too has organ solos, not just one but two.
Oh, dude,
We got two organ
so
solos.
fucking dramatic
It's fucking
too. They're
fantastic.
so dramatic.
They're great. I mean, I'm a sucker for the organ. I'm a sucker for the xylophone or oh my god, what is the fucking name right now? Not a xylophone.
Oh, the
What is other
marimba.
name?
Marimba.
The marimba. Yeah. I'm a sucker for that shit. And like I don't know. So throw in a good organ solo, good organ player, man. You got me. You got me hooked.
This one was
Absolutely got me hooked.
this organ solo is super dramatic to me because I really like the organ, but I feel like the organ's cheap because
Nah.
there's so many
Not as
fucking
cheap as a regular piano. Like you can get more feeling out of an organ than you can out of just a normal piano.
I don't
Or
know.
even keyboard. Or even keyboard.
I don't know if I agree with that because the piano is a very distinctive sound, and to incorporate that distinctive sound is difficult in all walks of life. But I feel like organ, you can put it anywhere, and we've heard it in like jazz and rock and roll,
Yeah.
hip hop. So it's
Mars Volta. Yeah.
Yeah, but like this one specifically was so fucking dramatic because you could hear the lows, and they were so low, and they were so like, brrr. And then the highs were so high. So like that contrast between the low and the high was so vast, and that's what made it so. On the same token, it made it so cheap sounding, but it also made it so good and refreshing.
It was, but that's another thing too with the organ is that that's what makes it like such a great instrument is that you can make it do subtle things, but then you can make it really stand out. But with the piano always stands out. Like there's no getting around it. I don't feel like there's a ton of nuance with the piano, but an organ you could do so much with that, so many different styles, and it's not obnoxious. I don't like the piano.
That's
I don't
like
like the piano. I don't like the harmonica. Fuck them.
that's like user error though. Like the the margin for error on an organ is a lot wider than the margin for error on a piano.
Yeah.
Like if you play the piano well, I mean, and you're one of the greats at it, then you're gonna go down in history as one of the greats in any walk of life. Like it fucking like a Regina Spektor who can play the piano
So good.
super well, even without her singing. Like it's just like any fan of any genre of music can listen to that and think, "Holy fuck, that's a really good tune." But not everybody can be in tune with the piano like that. Whereas the organ, like fucking like everybody did the organ, so it's the margin for error is a lot wider for the organ. I feel like I'm saying Oregon than Oregon.
Oregon,
And
you
it's
are.
fucking
and I always
irritating
want
me.
to say Oregon. I always
I
want
can't
to say
even,
it, but
I can't even think because it's pissing me off. I don't want to say Oregon anymore.
Oregon Trail,
The pipes. I'm gonna call them the pipes.
the pipes. Okay. Do we want to talk any more about smoking, or? I mean, we've talked about everything.
Yeah. Anthrax did
I mean-
a cover of "Smokin'" on their on an EP from 2013. Oh, and "Smokin'"
was
was
it?
banned. The covers it's pretty good actually. I like it. The
Sad.
song "Smokin'" was banned after 9/11. It was on the Clear Channel banned list.
What?
Smoking's dope though, dude. Like lyrically, smoking's cool. It's just about
No, it's
fucking
really cool.
having
It's about
fun,
partying.
smoking dope, dude. And like they don't even like try and mask it. They don't try and hide it. They don't try and like pussyfoot around it. It's just smoke dope, have
Yeah,
fun.
they just say it. Just have fun partying. Come to our shows, drink, smoke, dance, boogie. Yeah, it's
Like the hook is
fantastic.
like smoke, drink, fight. Like that type of
I know.
fucking abrasiveness.
It's so silly, so fucking silly.
Yeah, dude. So that's pretty much my mainstays. It's kind of funny because you came in hot with like the plant, the record label
Yeah.
plant aspect. I came in kind of like thinking around it, but not seeing the big picture. Whereas they are 100% a record label plant.
Yeah,
I should say he is a 100%
He is,
record
yeah.
label plant.
Yeah, and Brad Delp was unfortunately a victim of the plant. So, oh man, what a time! What a time to be
Damn,
alive
dude, a
talking about
true
Boston.
victim. Whoa.
And how he took his life too was just fucking crazy. But I don't know.
So like, okay, so like if we can just real quick, like how the fuck didn't he wrote a bunch of letters, sealed them, laid them all over the house, bought grills, lit charcoal grills everywhere, had time to put an exhaust or a dryer vent on the exhaust of his car, leading up to the room he was going to commit suicide in via carbon monoxide poisoning. I'm just thinking like, dude, like, I don't know. It's such a weird, suicide's such a weird thing. And I just think like nobody saw him sad ever. Like,
but depression's
hide
not
it that well?
necessarily like that. Like, you don't have to necessarily show signs of being sad to be depressed and have any sort of suicidal thoughts or ideations or anything.
But there was no change in behavior. There was no, like, nobody thought twice when he like didn't want the second slice of pizza on Round Table Pizza Night. I don't know. Man.
Yeah,
after knowing that Tom was a record label plant, I feel like that I don't know. It
makes it all weird and just suspicious in a way, and
it's almost like fucking murder, to be honest. Like that's where I was getting at.
Damn.
I'm just gonna say I don't care. It was
there
almost
was
like,
no foul play though. There was no foul play.
Oh yeah. Like, the record label doesn't have fucking enough money to pay off. What was it like Astoria Police Department? Some fucking bootleg police department wherever the fuck he was living.
In New Hampshire, yeah, some like little small town in fucking New Hampshire.
Yeah, like me, myself, and Irene Police Department over here. Sure. Oh yeah.
What a reference, huh?
Yeah, like, I don't know where the fuck that was filmed. But what if this was a murder and Epic just paid off the department, dude? This could be it.
Damn.
I don't know.
I mean, CBS. Who owns CBS? Viacom. Yeah, Viacom's fucking huge.
I don't know. Probably Disney.
I mean, no, Disney doesn't own Viacom. Viacom's its own entity.
Not yet.
But they're one of like the biggest. They're one of the biggest in the world, entertainment wise. They're one of the biggest in the world. So you never know. They got a lot of money. So let's give our final thoughts and then our rating, because I think we've exhausted this one.
Yeah, we pretty much beat this one to death.
Yeah, for 8 songs too.
No.
All right, what do you got? We have our 3-point rating system where 3 is a perfect album, 2 is a good album you're going to continue to listen to, 1 is a bad album but give it a shot, and 0 is a trash fire. So what do you got for your final thoughts and your rating on Boston's Boston?
Final thoughts. Honestly, had we not been collecting records, I don't know if I've ever would have given Boston's Boston a chance. Maybe in like our pod format, we would have done it, but it would have been so far down the list that it would have probably been washed out, much like Bush is going to get washed out. I just don't think that it ever would have been given the chance that it deserves. And that's not fault of like us or Boston. It's just, we can't listen to everything. And so I think, again, this is just another point in vinyls collecting's side, that this is just this is allowing people to experience music from before their time in a way they never would have experienced it. And I'm glad, because I got Boston's Boston for free on like a bulk lot that I bought like 500 records. It's like, I'll give Boston a shot. This is back when I was just like pulling out everything.
Yeah.
And I pulled out Boston's
time.
Boston's 2 and Boston's 3. And I was like, holy fuck, this is pretty crazy. Same concept with like BTO, Bachman Turner Overdrive. I've always liked TCB. I've always liked Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. But damn, I never realized like these bands could bring it the way they did outside of their hits.
Oh, I know, right? I mean, Welcome Home by BTO is the perfect song. Like, it's unreal how good that song is.
And it's just it's fucking bizarre. It's funny and it's weird and it's quirky, because you and I have been listening to music, we've been arguing about music, and we've been playing music together for fucking longer than we've not been doing it.
I know.
So, like literally, we've been arguing about music since we were like fucking 16 years old.
For fucking almost 20 years. We've known each other for almost 20 years now.
And we've been fighting about music for like almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Like since day
Seriously.
one. And
Since
so
day
it's,
one, yeah.
it's just one of those things where we're like, we're still constantly going back and forth saying, hey, this is cool, you should listen to this. And we're still loving it. Like we're still going at it. And then even I don't get out a lot, but when I do get out and I'm talking to people about things and they're saying like, oh yeah, like Boston's cool, and I'm like, no, they're not just cool, man. They're really fucking cool. Let me tell you why. And now it's coming even like full circle to where like the kids are doing projects on Brian May, and he's like, yeah, I just chose this guy Brian May. And I was like, bruh,
It's so weird.
bruh.
He said it just like that too. I'm sure.
The first time I did, I was like, bruh. And he looked at me, he's like, what? I was like, dude, Brian, man. And then I went into it. But like Brian, I don't know, it's just cool. Like music really truly does. And it's so cheesy. It should be on like one of those wooden plaques next to Live, Laugh, Love.
Yeah, Live, Laugh, Love. Yeah.
Or Life, Laugh, Hope, Boston's
and
Fifth,
Hope.
whatever the fuck that bullshit album was. It should be on like a plaque, dude. Like music does really bring people together, and it's fun. It's fun to like talk to somebody about music, even though you hate everything that they love and they hate everything you love. It's still fun to talk about that with them because there's still a common ground of liking music. You can still find, like, we can still find something in everything. Our tolerance for music is so fucking high, it's ridiculous.
I know. We even had some positive things to say about that Poison record, and that was one of the most difficult albums we've ever done. There was very little positive, but we were able to find some
Yeah, there are a couple things there. Fuck me, that was tough though.
That was bad. It was so bad.
So yeah, given all that, this is just chalk this one up to experience. Fuck me, I guess, because I've waited this long not to realize that Boston is this good. So, it's not a perfect album. It's not a perfect artist. I was to say band, but it's not really a band. But
It's an artist.
like this is good enough to where I still go back to this. I think I'm gonna do 2.6. I think I'm gonna do 2.6.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
Very fair.
I'll do 2.6.
So my final thoughts, much like you, I would never really given this band a lot of that much of a chance had it not been for the vinyl for whatever stupid reason. But yeah, and I mean I've always known this band because of my mom, because she loves classic rock, and it's just so weird. And I've learned so much about this stupid band and how much of a plant they are, and I don't even know what to think. I think this is an absolutely amazing record. I can't give it a perfect 3 either, but I'm gonna have to give it a 2.75, just because the last song and Rock and Roll Band. Really, those are the only 2 reasons why. Because Rock and Roll Band is just so blatantly obvious that it's a plant that I don't know. I can't take it for real, for serious. I can't take it
For
seriously.
realsies?
Ooh, this one's hard. This is a hard pod.
Sure.
But yeah, so 2.75 out of 3. That's what I got for this one. It's good. Like we were talking about, that A side. Side A is so fucking perfect.
Dude, that's arguably like one of the greatest debut A sides of all time.
Yeah, agreed, totally. You got anything else to say about this one?
No, that's it.
You're all good?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, go to iTunes, go rate, review, and subscribe to us on there. Follow us on social media at Asinine Radio. And yeah, thanks for listening. And that's it. That's all.
That's all. There you go. Get out of here, you little pop act. Fucking
get the fuck out of here.
Bunch of cucks. These are a bunch of cucks. Did you clap?
I did, yeah. I did. Why
You
wouldn't
sure?
I clap?
I don't know.
Why wouldn't I clap? I need the claps.
I could think of 4 or 5 reasons right now you wouldn't clap.
Now, what are they?
Airplane crashing into your house. There's an earthquake. Rupert ate poison. Ryan fell down. He had to go run outside and watch. Fucking airplane crashed.
I had to go out and watch.
Million reasons why you wouldn't clap.
Wait, are you like overdosing on stupid pills, or what's going on with you?
But I will
What's going on with you? What's going on?
But I will say, I don't know. This is like a big fucking joke. This is like a big fucking joke. It's like a haha. Am I getting punked? Are you joking my ass right now?
So
Are your top 3 bangers on side A?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay,
For sure.
Me too.
I mean, they have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're stupid. But yeah, no.
I've never had pink in my fucking life, and I don't ever plan on it because I'm not a disgusting fucking piece of shit animal. Like children, like wrestlers, like
Yes.
other people that get pink eye.
Wait. Hold on. She's near my box set. Hold on one second.
Oh, you gonna fuck her up? Do you still file the box set, like the records away sideways so they're gonna fall out when you pull them out?
Oh yeah, totally.
Because you drop shit a lot.
I don't drop. Well, I dropped like one record. That's dropping.
No, to be fair, when you were out here, like you dropped like 7 things.
I dropped 2. I
like
dropped 2 when I was out there.
It wasn't just records.
It was
Like you
2.
dropping like fucking beers, like phone. Remember you dropped your phone like 4 times when you got up.
I dropped my phone a few times, but I didn't drop a beer.
Dude, like I've never seen anybody drop as much shit as you do in my life. Like, it was unbelievable.
When I was out there last time, I didn't drop my beer at all. The time before that I was out there, I dropped my Monster. I remember that.
Yeah, you like kicked it over, like you fucking clobber knocked it with your foot because you're too stupid to fucking open your eyeballs. But you dropped your phone like twice. You dropped at least 1 or 2 records when you're out here, just straight up on the floor.
I dropped 2 records.
That's a lot of fucking records.
And they were mine.
I've dropped 0. I've dropped 0.
And they were mine.
Since we
They
started
weren't
collecting,
yours.
I've dropped 0.
But did I drop a Mars Volta one? No, I did
It doesn't matter which ones you've dropped. You've dropped them.
Maybe. No. I no.
What you mean?
I'm sure
no,
the Beatles were
that's-
doing it or something.
Get the fuck! Oh my god! Here we go. I can't think of anything, so I'll just revert to the Beatles. The Beatles. Duh, duh, duh.